Good morning campers, it's Sunday morning here in the UK at the start of July, and this week's video is going to be all about a weekly and monthly reset. I've recently done a blog post on 20 daily habits and the app I've been using to help me keep track of them. So lately I've been really focusing on trying to stay organised and keep on top of my jobs and just stop feeling overwhelmed by all the little things that need to be done. So I've been jotting down and thinking about those kinds of jobs that I can be doing on a daily, weekly and monthly basis to help me stay on top of everything. So I'm going to share them with you now. I've also been doing some resources to go alongside this, so I'll make sure I pop the links to those below. Morning! And now I'm going to make the little people some breakfast before they start eating the furniture. Okay, so I'm going to try and film this real quick whilst the kids are playing happily. So we'll start with the weekly reset. So my number one job of the week, let's start the new week, try and do it on a Sunday, but it kind of depends how our days are going. So my first job of the week will always be to write my weekly list. This is kind of what it looks like. I haven't actually done this for next week yet, but to just give you an idea, this is a one from a few weeks ago. So I put my jobs into different sections, and I'll obviously look at my last week's list and draw down the ones that I didn't get to complete. So I've got work, home admin, home projects, home, Insta and blog, and then self-care, and then also things to buy. So this is like inspired a little bit by the Mrs. Hinch type lists, but this is more home admin rather than like cleaning stuff. I tend to use a mixture of paper notebook and electronic notebook. I tend to try and use one notebook at a time for everything. So I'll have like my home type stuff and my blog type stuff at the front, and then my work stuff at the back, and it just helps me keep a bit more organised because I'm not trying to search for a million notebooks, or if we're going out somewhere and I think I might want to look at it at some point, I just know I need to just chuck one notebook in my bag and it's all going to be there. So the other notebook I've been using is Google Keep, and I'll show you a picture on that on here. It's really great. It's an online notebook, and I use that more for my kind of ongoing lists, but also stuff that I think of like spur of the moment, or like blog post ideas, video ideas, home project ideas. What are you doing? There's a dinosaur looking at me. Yeah, whereas my weekly list that I write on my notepad is more of a kind of to-do list, more focused list, if that makes any sense. So another weekly job is a meal plan and a list for the weekly food shop. So we tend to be quite relaxed about our meal plans because things change, but we try and have like at least 5 kind of meals planned for that week, and which we might switch around depending on how we feel on things. And then there'll usually be like leftovers in there somewhere, or maybe like if we get back to normal we'd go to Mum's for like a meal a week and things. Yes, I can see your raptor. You know, people do like bulk meal prep and stuff. That I've never really done that. It just doesn't suit my lifestyle at the moment, so I just don't do it, but it is a good thing to do if you want to. Something I've been trying to do, just to try and keep on top of things. Noah, can you just go in there for a minute? Just give me 5 minutes, please. Good boy. Stop shouting, Ollie. Okay, so one of the jobs I've been trying to do and keep on top of is things like checking my emails. So that's on my daily to-do list, but weekly basis I've been trying to clear my inbox if I can, and that is a huge job for someone who has like a lot of email accounts like I do, but it does make me think, it makes me keep on top of unsubscribing from emails, and I found a really good app, which I can't remember the name of, I'll pop it on here, which helps you unsubscribe, but I did find that it didn't unsubscribe fully from a lot of things. It kind of tries to obviously read your inbox and see what you might want to unsubscribe from. So it did miss some things, but it did help to kind of get the process going. So I'll pop a link to that. I can't remember what it's called. So along with that, so clear my email inbox, clear my in tray that I have up on my desk, or if you have like a pile of paperwork somewhere that tends to bulk up in your house, try and get that cleared every day. They're play fighting, it's fine. And then also, like on your computer, you might want to clear your desktop or my documents or your downloads or whatever your equivalent is on your computer or your laptop. So another weekly job is to look at our diaries for the week ahead. I try and sit down with Dan to do this like on a Sunday night, so we both know what's happening, because especially with Dan's job, he's now back at work. He works long hours, like 5 days a week. He's not really home at all. So it's really important that we kind of keep that weekly check-in going, to make sure that the kids are covered. We haven't forgotten to say like, oh, so-and-so's coming to fix the tumble dryer or whatever. Oh my days, I need to drop my laptop. We haven't forgotten any scheduled things that are in the diary, because Dan's not at home a lot during his working week. I'm very good at kind of just making plans and just going with them and just being quite independent, and sometimes that trips us up because I forget to tell him stuff, and it just helps us to try and communicate better as well. I also try and schedule in every week. I think about my social media posts, my blog posts, also me time, some self-care, so I try and block out a little bit of time for that every week. It might be exercise, it might be like what your work schedule is that week, so Dan and I know needs to be home, or he knows I've got work commitments on a Monday evening or something, so he knows that he's in charge of bedtime that night, etc, etc. I'll then try and set some goals for the week and just really evaluate my priorities as well. I've actually got a resource that I've made for that, so I'll put a link to that below as well for you. Another really good job to do on a weekly basis is to clear out your handbag or your purse and just get rid of everything that's in there and just start to minimize what you might need, because it's amazing how receipts build up, rubbish, old tissues, your face mask now that you might, if you've got reusable ones, you want to make sure they're going into the wash. If you have a changing bag for your little one, it's a good opportunity to clear that out and make sure it's all topped up with everything that you need for the week. You might want to just give your car a quick clean out as well. I don't tend to plan like my outfits exactly for the week ahead, but especially with the boys at school and things, I make sure everything is obviously washed and I iron everything that they need for school. I try and do that at the start of the week or at the weekend, ready for the week ahead, so that it's all kind of there, so I'm not kind of tripping up over myself thinking, oh my goodness, where is like that school uniform or that piece of sports kit. And I know that if I've got like big meetings coming up or something and I want to wear something particular, it's all ready to go. I have been doing a daily photo clear out from my phone, and that's been really, really good. It's helped me the backup of photos on my phone, but also on the ones I take that day, just to make sure I keep like the best photos for that day. What I try to do on a weekly basis, I look at any screenshots I've taken and I pop them into Google Keep to kind of file them, and I can either then delete them off my phone, or it just reminds me of what I've screenshotted and it doesn't just get lost in the ether of my photos. The last thing I try and do on a weekly basis is have what I call a switch off Sunday. So it's not always on a Sunday, but I do try and have a day, at least a week, where I switch off from social media, I turn off notifications, I don't look at it until maybe the evening, and even then actually what I'm trying to do is take the whole day off, and it just helps me kind of stay focused and have that breather, because sometimes it can get pretty overwhelming, especially if you're part of a lot of engagement groups and things like that. I just like to have a day where I'm kind of really focused on being at home with the children, getting stuff done for myself, and it just really, really helps. And sometimes I keep the notifications off all week. So as I said, this doesn't include any like cleaning routine, that will be a separate video, but this is just life admin weekly tasks to help keep on top of things. So moving on to the monthly reset. So these are jobs I would do on a monthly basis. So I'll try and do them either at the end of the last month or as close to the start of the new month as I can. So one of my main things to do is I check any birthdays or celebrations or events that are going to be happening that week, which I need cards or gifts or anything like that for. 5 minutes. If I'm feeling really organised, I will make sure not only are those things bought, but I write the cards, I write the date when I need to either send them or when they need to be opened. So I'll quite often send them all out at the start of the month, but with the date that they need to be opened on the front, so that person can then kind of do it like that, rather than trying to remember to send it at a certain time. I'll wrap any gifts and get them all prepped. Penelope, you want to come sit with Mummy? Come here. Come here, puppy. Okay, well don't pull my camera over, please. Another new thing I've been using, excuse the wobbling, the baby's trying to destroy the camera, is an app called Touchnote. You might have seen this on an advert on the telly. So I use Touchnote. I got the silver subscription, which is from $3.99 a month, and that gives you 2 postcards, which is the equivalent to 1 greeting card a month. So at the start of that month, I will choose 1 card that I definitely need to post, or 2 postcards. It's quite nice to send postcards as well, and I'll get that sort of typed up and ready, and photos included, and ready. So I know that at least 1, if not 2, are completely sorted for that month. So the other big thing to do on a monthly basis is evaluate your budget. I've done a resource for you, so you can either print this out, or there is a downloadable Excel or Google Sheets version that you can fill in, and hopefully that should work. Obviously keeping on top of your finances is really important. It's part of my daily task to check my bank accounts and things, just to make sure there's no odd transactions going out or unexpected things. But on a monthly basis, we try and look at our budget, evaluate it, and check we're on track. A bit like the weekly goals, I think it's really good to have a think about maybe 1 or 2 monthly goals. And again, there's a resource for that which you can download. I'll also then review my project list. So this could be home projects or work projects or blog projects, and just see if they're still relevant, if there's still something I need to be doing, what I need to be doing on that project list. I'll have a whole new video about how I plan and implement projects later, so look out for that too. Updating your calendar is a really good idea. So your paper diary or your online diary, whatever you want to use. I tend to have a big calendar in the kitchen which has got the main events on it, and then I'll have my paper diary which has got more detail, and then I've also been trying to use my Gmail calendar more as well. I know a lot of people already use their electronic calendars more, and I'm starting to come around to that. But there is something nice about having that paper diary as well. So part of that, of course, is scheduling any appointments that you might need for that month, any haircuts or prescriptions, anything like that you might need. So try to choose a book or maybe a podcast I want to listen to. Yeah, we're going soon, I promise. Just let me finish this. I try and check my social media stats as well on a monthly basis. I try not to get too obsessed with this, but just helps me kind of see what people are enjoying. So that's YouTube and Instagram. I don't tend to use Facebook much.
Did you super loud?
No, not yet. And then I think it's really good to do a food and a beauty product inventory list. You might not want to do a sort of physical list, but a sort of stock check of what you have, so that you can plan your meals for every week, and also see what beauty products you might need to buy that month, and things like washing powder and stuff like that as well. So as I've been saying about my photos, I've been trying to look at that on a daily basis and then on a weekly basis as well. Doing my screenshots, but one thing I try and do on a monthly basis is if you have you can get free photo apps where Snapfish, you can get, I think it's 50 free prints a month, so I'll do things like that, or I might organise them into albums or back them up somewhere. I also have a look at any apps on my phone to see if I'm actually using them, if I need to make up some space on my phone. If I have a lot of notifications, I consider either turning those notifications off or if I really need that app in my life, because if I'm not looking at it and I'm getting loads of notifications, maybe I'm not actually using it as I should be. And the last thing is to wow. And the last thing is to give your car a bit of a clear out, maybe a clean, and also things like your fridge and your freezer. So I know we said about doing a bit inventory, but I try to do like a deep clean as well once a month, especially of the fridge, because it's something that you should do on a weekly basis probably, but it can get missed. And I give it a wipe every week, but it needs to have a proper deep clean. So those are my weekly and monthly reset jobs with some help from my little helpers. I hope that was helpful, and I'll make sure a full list is available somewhere on the blog and all the links to the resources as well. So we're going to say bye-bye. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.